Artyom and Lina had been friends since childhood. He loved exploring abandoned places, and she was fascinated by strange legends. So when they heard about the forest that listens, discovering the truth became a personal mission. Locals claimed that inside this forest there was no echo, and at night the trees repeated the sounds they heard. No one stayed there for more than a few minutes. Artyom insisted the stories were nonsense. Lina believed it was just another mystery, waiting to be uncovered. They entered the forest late in the morning. The air was warm, but the silence felt unnatural. No birds, no insects, nothing. Their footsteps sounded muted, as if someone was smothering every noise. Strange, Lina whispered. It feels like sound drowns here. Maybe it's humidity, Artyom joked, but his voice came out oddly flat. They decided to test the echo. Artyom whistled loudly. The sound vanished instantly, as if cut off. Lina clapped her hands. Silence swallowed it the same moment. Okay, this isn't funny, Lina said, tightening the straps of her backpack. I don't like this place. We just started. Artyom forced a smile, but he was already uneasy. The deeper they went, the worse it felt. Trees stood too close together, tall and dark, their crowns blocking out most of the light. A cold mist began spreading between the trunks. Wait, do you hear that? Lina whispered. Artyom froze. A strange sensation spread across his ear, like someone leaned right next to him. Then he heard it, his own voice, whispering his name. Artyom, he spun round. No one. That wasn't you, he asked shakily. No. Lina gasped. But someone just said my name. In your voice. They stared at each other, fear growing fast. The forest seemed to come alive. Trees tilted subtly in one direction, as if watching them. The mist moved like slow breathing. Then came another sound, deeper, heavier, like hundreds of voices whispering at once. We hear. Lina grabbed Artyom's hand. We're leaving. Now. But the forest didn't seem to want to let them go. The path disappeared. Trees shifted positions. Every direction looked identical, as if the forest was rearranging itself. Don't look back, Lina shouted. Run. They ran blindly, stumbling over roots. The whispers grew louder, clearer, repeating their footsteps, their breath, their words. Artyom and Lina stooped just when their strength was leaving them. A bright opening appeared ahead. Sunlight pierced through the mist. They burst out of the forest and collapsed on the grass. The whispers vanished instantly. They lay in silence, trying to breathe. What was that? Artyom finally whispered. I don't know, Lina replied, her voice trembling. But it was listening. The whole time. They left the area that same day, promising never to return. But weeks later, Artyom received an audio file from an unknown number. He played it. It contained their running, their breathing, the shifting mist, and at the end, a voice they both recognized. You will return. Everyone returns. Lina called Artyom that night. Her voice was shaking. I got a recording too, and I can hear someone standing at my door. The forest hadn't forgotten them, and it seemed to be still listening. The deeper Artyom and Lina walked into the forest, the thicker the fog became. It seemed to curl around their legs on purpose, as if trying to grab their ankles and hold them still. Lina kept turning around, even though she knew for sure no one was behind them. Yet the feeling of another presence grew heavier with every step. Are you sure this is a good idea? She asked, trying to keep her voice low. Well, just walk a bit and then head back, Artyom replied, though the confidence in his voice was fading. Sometimes it felt as if the forest itself was breathing, not the wind, not the rustling of branches, actual breathing, deep, slow, as if a giant invisible creature was waiting for the right moment to come closer. They stopped several times, trying to trace the source, but every time the sound seemed to dissolve. Soon they stumbled upon an old wooden sign, almost eaten by moss. The words on it were barely legible, nearly erased by time. Do not whisper. Lina touched the board, and her fingers broke into goosebumps. Why no whispering? Maybe it's the legend about the forest repeating sounds, Artyom guessed. Or the one about it taking whoever it hears, Lina muttered, then flinched at her own words. They walked on. Suddenly Lina stopped sharply. Wait, did you hear that? Hear what? Footsteps. Over there, on the left. Artyom froze. On the right, a faint rustling echoed, like someone was moving through the trees. But when Artyom stepped toward the sound, it suddenly repeated right behind him. He spun around. Nothing. Echo. He tried to rationalize. There is no echo here. Lina hissed, almost whispering, and instantly covered her mouth in fear. At that same moment, the fog in front of them trembled, as if reacting. Lina felt the air near her air turn cold. She didn't even have time to inhale before she heard it. Soft but unmistakably clear. Lina, she stumbled backward, nearly losing her balance. That wasn't your voice, she whispered, shaking. I didn't say anything, Artyom replied. The forest began to change. The trees seemed taller now, their trunks shifting closer together, almost blocking every possible way out. The path behind them blurred, dissolving into thickening fog. Artyom turned on his flashlight. The beam barely pierced the haze, and for a moment, they saw a figure, a human-shaped silhouette, dark, elongated, standing motionless between the trees as if listening. 1 second later, it vanished. We need to leave, Lina whispered, and the forest answered, first with a trembling of the branches, then with a faint, almost clumsy repetition. Leaving the forest was repeating their words, but it repeated them wrong, as though it was learning to speak, and with every failed attempt, the voice sounded more human yet terribly distorted. Run, Artyom shouted, grabbing Lina's hand. They bolted forward, not knowing where the path led. The fog swirled around them, moving almost in sync with their steps. The whispers multiplied, growing louder, echoing their breathing, their panic, their cries. The forest was mocking them. Suddenly Lina skidded to a stop. Did you hear that? What now? A voice. Another one. Not ours. And then, from deep within the forest, came a new sound, quiet, but heavy, like the breathing of something huge, so close it felt like it was standing right behind them.